All right. So for today's episode, the entire focus is on making a low-fat whole pizza completely from scratch. Anyone new here? My name is Landon Greenberg, and this is Greenie Cooks. I kind of want this to just be like a relaxed, laid-back space for you to watch me attempt to cook in a kitchen. Kind of a little background on me. I played Division One lacrosse at UMBC. Um, and I would say food is a pretty massive part of my life. It's just kind of like it's for fuel and recovery. The problem is I'm not really a good cook, but I love to like be a chud and just eat sometimes. The problem is I'll eat out a lot. That's just because I'm like too lazy to cook or I don't really know what I'm doing. So I kind of want to start doing this podcast to get me into doing a little bit more cooking. So for today, I wanted to kind of start with like a kind of like a classic little food, like a little pizza. But to keep it that kind of like low fat, whole food style, I'm gonna use just mushrooms and ham, and every ingredient I'm gonna use is gonna be like a homemade style, and they'll all be whole ingredients. So so for the first part of making this pizza, you kind of got to go into the dough. For the dough, it would use bread flour, salt, oil, sugar, yeast, and hot water. So kind of going into it, the first part is kind of like it's almost like a little science experiment, I would say. You kind of so you'll have some hot water. You're gonna put that into a bowl and measure it out, and then from there you'll put the yeast in, and you gotta let the yeast sit in there. And while it's in there, like bubbles up and starts to look all weird, and then from there you'll put the sugar in, and apparently that like makes it like starch up or something, and it'll get like I don't know, it just activates it better. I have no clue what it does. But then so then in like a separate bowl, kind of went with the other dry ingredients in the oil. So that'd be like the bread flour, the salt, and then and then put oil in there, and let it mix around. And so kind of just mixed all that up, and then so you kind of have to let the yeast and the water do its thing. I don't really know, but then you'll pour all that into the dry ingredients, and you'll mix it all up. Gets like it's like a really weird like sticky texture. It's that, but so then you like make sure you like clean off the table, which I did not do, but you'll like you'll like dump it all onto the table, and then from there you'll start like playing with it. I think it's called kneading the dough. But so you'll just kind of do that for a while you're adding more bread flour to that. And yeah, you just kind of keep doing it until it turns into a smooth ball. And from there, once you have that smooth ball, you're gonna let it rest for a while and just kind of like wait. And so what I did was while I was letting it wait in this like little ball while it's rising, I turned on the oven, and you gotta like crank it to like 500 or 550 degrees. I mean, it just needs to be really hot, and it needs to sit for a while too. So I put it to like I think I put it at 550, and then let it sit for an hour, heat up and everything. And then so from there, once the dough is ready, when I was on in like a separate area, I cooked the mushrooms. I just used salt and pepper on them just to like keep it simple. And then I just got like the store bought ham, and then kind of cut all that up, made it like just like separate stuff. And then so I let it wait, and then we put down like the parchment and then the bread flour, and then from there I kind of like started. The dough is kind of like normal now. It's a lot more smooth and like easy to work with than what it was previously. And so from there I kind of started to like stretch the dough out and make it a shape, which was not a circle, but it was flat, which was what mattered. And then I also had to make like a sauce, which for the sauce I just got a little red tomato sauce, and then just put like salt and oregano in there. And then so from there, just kind of like spread it onto the pizza. I did a little lighter sauce. I don't really like that much sauce on the pizza. And then to kind of keep it like that low fat, I mean it was like low moisture, low fat mozzarella, and I sprinkled that on. And then again, kind of like cut up the ham and the mushrooms, and then put them on to the pizza. I did think that was a better selection than doing what I wanted to initially do, which would have been like a pepperoni pizza, but that would have just been pretty unhealthy to eat. And this is for like a low fat, so I went with that. And then from there, once I like made the pizza, I put it into the hot oven, and I let it go for about 7 minutes to begin with. But then kind of from there, I realized like it needed a little bit more time, so I let it kind of toast up just a little more. I probably ended up cooking for about like 8.5 or 9 minutes, but then I took it out, and from there, I mean, I kind of just had like a pretty much a created object, and then I threw some Parmesan on top because that's what like the YouTube videos were doing, and I thought it would look nice and taste better, so that's what I did. And and then from there the pizza was done. I had to let it sit before it was too hot, or while it was too hot, and then I cut it up, and then it was time to eat it. And honestly, it didn't suck that bad. I definitely pick it over like on like a Papa John's or a Domino's, but it was not a bad experience at all. When I was rating the pizza, I would say for things that I would cook, it was probably like a 9, but if it was something I was like getting from a store, it was probably more of like a 7.2. But no, it was good. Again, it was kind of like it was low fat and healthy compared to what I could have done. But yeah, and then I would say the experience overall, I would give like a 8 out of 10. I think the hardest part was working with the dough. It wasn't like, honestly, it just wasn't fun. It was kind of weird. Like, it was just sticking to my hands the whole time. But I did try the raw dough as well, which was, I don't know what that was, but yeah. And then I would give the experience a decent rating though. I mean, it was realistically took me probably like 20 to 30 minutes to make the dough, which I don't think is how long it's supposed to take, but we did. And then it cooks really quick, which is all that matters. And then would make again. And like, yeah, I don't really know what I would do next when it comes to the pizza though. I'd probably like make like some like chicken bacon ranch or something like that. But I think my biggest takeaway is that like making it from scratch isn't that complicated, even if it feels messy in the beginning. It'll all come together in the end. But I thought it was a good experience, and I'm excited to kind of like cook something new next time, see what dishes like spark my eyes and stay to that kind of like whole food and healthier option. So that's everything for Greenie Cooks. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.